They say the small cracks are always there before the wall collapses. You just don't notice them until one day you hear the sound of bricks giving way. With us, the cracks began as jokes. Little comments he'd make in front of people. Comments I would try to laugh off even though my stomach nodded. You're so sensitive. Don't take it so seriously. She overthinks everything. At first, I convinced myself this was love's language. That couple's teased, and I needed thicker skin. That maybe the problem was me, not him. I told myself love is generous, and part of generosity is letting people get away with things. But it's a dangerous thing when generosity becomes permission. The night that proved it, the one I still replay like a scratched record, started off ordinary. We were at a bar near his office, the kind with soft lighting and too many craft beers on tap. His friends were already there when I arrived, their laughter spilling out into the street like smoke. I had dressed carefully, not fancy, just intentional. A dress he once said made me look like sunlight in fabric. I wanted to belong in his world, wanted his friends to see me as part of the set, not an accessory he brought along. He kissed me quickly when I showed up, distracted, like a man greeting a co-worker rather than a partner. His friends clapped him on the back and pulled him into their circle, the way groups do when they're cementing themselves against the evening. We found a table. I laughed at their stories, sipped my drink, tried to fold myself into the atmosphere. And then it happened. One of his friends, teasing him about being late to something, joked, "You know she probably had you on a timer. Bet she texts you if you're 10 minutes behind." He grinned. "Oh, you don't even know. She's crazy about that stuff. She'll blow up my phone like I'm running for president. Total psycho sometimes." The table erupted in laughter. And just like that, the air was gone from my lungs. It wasn't just the word crazy. It was the way he said it. The easy cruelty. The performative tone meant to get laughs, to score points. The way his eyes flicked around the table for approval, not once stopping to check my face. I tried to smile, but my cheeks betrayed me. My hand tightened around the glass until the condensation ran down my wrist like a reminder. You are still here. You are still real. Someone changed the subject. A new story. More laughter. The moment passed for everyone else, but for me it became the entire evening. I kept hearing it on loop. Crazy. Psycho. Laughter. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the stall, and sat on the closed lid, trying to catch my breath. My reflection in the mirror looked like someone halfway erased. I stared at myself and whispered, "Don't cry. Not here. Don't give them that." When I came back, he didn't even notice I'd been gone. He was mid-anecdote about some project at work. I sat down, and for the rest of the night I was a ghost at that table. Later, walking home, I asked him softly, "Why would you call me crazy like that? In front of everyone?" He laughed like it was nothing. "Babe, relax. It was a joke. You are a little intense sometimes. They all know I didn't mean it." I nodded slowly, though inside something had shifted, because the truth was clear. He didn't care that I felt humiliated. He only cared that his friends had laughed. And once you see that truth, you can't unsee it. The next morning, the bar still clung to me like smoke on my clothes. He acted like nothing happened. Made coffee. Whistled while scrolling his phone. The word crazy still echoed in my chest, but to him it was yesterday's weather. I set my mug down too hard on the table. He looked up. "What?" "I need to talk about last night," I said. He groaned. "God, are we really doing this? You're going to drag one dumb joke into a whole thing." And there it was again, that dismissiveness, that rewriting of reality, so that my pain became exaggeration, my clarity became hysteria. "You don't get it," I said. "It wasn't just a joke. It was you making me the punchline. You chose their laughter over my dignity." He rolled his eyes. "You always have to make everything so dramatic." I thought of all the other times. The cousin's wedding when he told everyone I was obsessed with taking pictures and made fun of my poses. The dinner party where he joked I was basically married to my Google Calendar. The time with his co-workers when he said, "Don't mind her, she's shy." Even though I was sitting right there. Each time, I'd let it slide. Each time, I told myself not to be the girlfriend who couldn't take a joke. But jokes are never just jokes when they erode the ground you stand on. I went quiet, because arguing with someone who has already decided not to hear you is like shouting at a locked door. Later that week, his friends invited us out again. I told him I didn't want to go. He frowned. "Why are you being so antisocial? You're making this weird." "I'm not making this weird," I said. "You did that when you turned me into a joke." We didn't go. He sulked the whole night, sighing loudly, scrolling his phone. I sat on the couch, staring at the ceiling, realizing that silence in a relationship can be as loud as shouting. The cracks were widening. We tried therapy. Or I tried. He sat in the chair like a man waiting for his car to be serviced. The therapist asked him, "Do you know why we're here?" He shrugged. "She thinks I embarrass her." I swallowed hard. It's not just embarrassment. It's disrespect. It's being turned into a caricature in front of strangers. He leaned back. "See? Crazy. Exaggerating everything." The therapist looked at me, eyebrows raised. She didn't need to say the irony out loud. Over weeks, I explained how I wanted to feel safe with him. Not like I had to brace myself every time he opened his mouth. How trust wasn't just fidelity, but also protection of each other's dignity. He listened sometimes. Other times he smirked, arms crossed, as if keeping score in a game only he understood. But here's the thing about therapy. It doesn't fix people who don't want fixing. One evening after a session, we had dinner at home. I'd made pasta, simple but warm. He poured wine. For a brief moment it felt almost normal. Then his phone buzzed. He laughed at something on the screen, then turned it toward me. It was a meme about crazy girlfriends. He said, "See? You'd think this was funny if you weren't so sensitive." And just like that, whatever glue I'd been using to hold us together dissolved. People imagine breakups as explosions, but sometimes they're quiet acknowledgments. Mine came one Saturday evening, at a small gathering with mutual friends. We were all sitting around, telling stories. Someone joked about relationships, and he smirked, looked at me, and said, "Ask her, she's the crazy one here." The room laughed. I didn't. I stood up, smoothed my dress, and said, "You're right. I am crazy for staying this long." Silence. Then the sound of my own heels on the floor as I walked out. That night I packed a bag. The next morning, I left the key on the counter. He texted, called, begged. Said he didn't mean it. Said it was just his sense of humor. Said I was overreacting. But I had finally understood. It was never about the word crazy. It was about the choice, over and over again, to put me on the stage as a punchline instead of beside him as a partner. And once you realize you've been miscast in your own story, you don't stay for the encore. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.